with your defensive line. Obviously, you lost pieces from last year, and you had to bring in a bunch of new guys. But you've been really complimentary of how they played, and it's showed up. So, are they above your expectations of where they're playing right now up front?
No, not. I wouldn't say above. I've been very complimentary of them because I think we've done a really nice job of evaluating exactly what we need and making the scheme fit those guys. How they play is what I'm way more proud of that than I am the statistics. You know, guys are playing hard, playing with a lot of energy, and they're playing together. You know, they feed off each other, and that is, as top to bottom unit, when you're playing 8 to 10 guys, that's probably something that we've been lacking a little bit. But they're fun to coach. They're exciting to watch.
Transfers can be hit or miss, but it looks like most of those transfers up front have been pretty big hits.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's part of the evaluation, and when you're going out and specifically evaluating things that fit what you do and what you need, and then, you know, understanding, you know, the people focus on the big, you know, whatever you want to call it, big fish or in the portal, is when you can go out and really create based on, again, need and fit. You can go out and find some really, really good players that create a quality room, a quality depth, and I think that's what you're seeing.
What gave your defense, what was the cause for the success that there were times when you were pretty dominant on Saturday. What was different from Saturday the other 2 weeks?
You know, I think, and you guys have heard me talk about a little bit of a different mentality and approach that this group has developed with, you know, what do you want to consider it, leadership? You know, I've always said that, you know, leadership is very simply action, and inherently guys follow your best players. Well, those are the guys that really that in those games they stand out and they show up and they make plays, whether it's Aubrey, whether it's Lee, whether it's Sean, whether it's Mike, and it's been on all three levels. So that's one thing. And then, you know, how do you know that? It's not really the win. You know, they're probably, I think it was maybe toward the end of the first quarter, and you know, as a coach, you sometimes try to say they need to know what they need to know, and that's it. Go play. And Coach Brown walks in the huddle and goes, "Guys, Garrett's done for the night," and they never blinked. And that's, you know, that's how you know. You know, they never batted an eye.
We usually talk about not letting a bad performance snowball, but you would want a good performance to carry on. So how do you kind of approach that to keep that going?
I mean, you just keep building. You know, our season goals were never just to beat Pitt or to play well against whatever it is. That's not what we're striving to do. It's good that we did it, obviously, but that's not. We've got bigger things to take care of, and our whole theme, the entire off season into the summer, into the season, is simply been to get better, and if we just continue to do that. That's all we want to do, and all we want to do is tomorrow, and then this week, and then we'll worry about the rest of it later.
You made no bones that your secondary struggled the first two games. Difference this week? Why was it better?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a combination. I think that number one, I think Penn State going into the game was probably a little undervalued at receiver, and we didn't play we didn't do some things as well fundamentally as we could, and then quite honestly, had a couple of bonehead mistakes in game two. But there's a lot of things, and you heard me say this last week, that a lot of adjustments that I held out, and I did that by design. And so I think it was a combination of personnel and then getting those adjustments in the game. And you know, and I expected some of the things that Pitt presented us with their overall plan. I didn't expect it to be the volume of run game that it would be. You know, but it did, but I think it was a little bit of combination of both.
What defines Trey Latham
what defines him.
Yeah.
Growth, his growth over the last. He's still a really young player. He's athletic. He's aggressive, and his best football is still ahead of him. But we went into this season, and quite honestly, probably putting a little more pressure than somebody of that age is ready for it, because that was our hole. And everybody, it's been, you guys have asked, and we've talked about it the whole off season. That's been our hole, and he's really, really stepped up, and that growth continues week by week. And so Trey's best football is ahead of him, but he's really taken a big step into a role that we needed a big step. I would say growth.
How did you identify him as a linebacker? Because he told us he played receiver.
Yeah, he played a little bit of both. I mean, you just go through the evaluation of a player as an athlete. Number one, can they athletically do what you need them to do? And then at some point they've shown you something at the position that you need to see, whether it's in a camp setting or video or in person, in game, live game scenario. He played a little bit, but he's a good athlete. He's fast. He's aggressive.
First tempo team. Obviously, getting lined up is going to be the message this week.
Yeah, I mean that's what it's all about. It's not we talk about it all the time. It's about you can disguise yourself out of plays, and so that's obviously something, and that's a reason people do it, so that you can't hide some things. And so, but at the end of the day, I mean, it's all about getting lined up, getting your cleats in the ground and playing, keying your key and doing your job.
Getting back to Trey, is there an advantage, if any, that he made his first start at Penn State, kind of thrown into the fire there? I guess it's up to him.
Yeah, I mean, it never hurts. You're not gonna. I say you're not going to play. He may not play in a bigger environment, but this environment Saturday night was better. I thought overall, just environment, maybe not as big, but our crowd was phenomenal. So, the only difference is home crowd versus an away crowd. But it was good. It was good for him to. He made a couple of plays in that game. I thought the game really started to slow down to him. And so, does it help? I'm sure it does, but it definitely never hurts.
Jordan, you may not want to give the secret away, I don't know, but the evaluation you're talking about, for some of these guys, there's not a lot of tape that was available, and different schemes, I'm guessing, too, but how do you find people with such limited footage and then find out that it is a hit, and then you do feel comfortable going forward with it?
You just trust your evaluation. There's certain things athletically that you look for. Just an example is, I think a lot of people use, it's no secret, is your foot speed, which directly relates, in my opinion, to your athleticism. So once you see it, you see it. I mean, you take a guy like Eddie V, that was all off of a cell phone video, 2 days a week for 5 months. And however damn cold it gets in Finland, so kudos to him. But that's what it was. But you see things that can carry over athletically into the game of football. So you just trust your evaluation, and nobody is ever going to be 100%. But if you just trust it, you believe in what you see, and you stick with it, you'll be right more than you're wrong.
Tell me, go ahead.
Just being a former D-line coach, what has Coach Jackson done with this group that they played so well early on?
I mean, I think AJ's fundamentally one of the probably the best I've ever been around, and this group is really this is you get into a tenure somewhere, and it takes time, right? You get your guys and your attitude and your approach, and it just starts to take over, and it takes time to do that, and I think that's what you see, and he just they respond to him, and he does a good job with them on the field, with them off the field. And he demands a standard and an expectation, and he demands it in pre-practice and individual, down to team, down to the walkthrough, and so you're definitely starting to see that.
Tell me, you recruit him hard the first time, you pick someplace else. I would think sometimes you could take that personally and say, I'm not going to take you the second time around. What caused you to say, you know what, we want the
You know,
standby.
I think the biggest thing is, and what I do is I just always try to put myself back in the kid's shoes. You know, I think most of us that do this were recruited, and you have your reasons and you have your evaluation process just like a coach does. And so, you know, I just respect people's decision. You know, for whatever reason it was, you come back on the back end and maybe it didn't work out, or maybe it was not what they thought it was. I'm not saying that's the case with Tommy, but you respect decisions and you move on. You know, we signed Asani in that same class, and so you go for a guy, and it's your job to find the next guy that you like, and go. It's our job to recruit. So I can be mad at a kid for not choosing West Virginia or wherever, and if I'm still left there with not a kid, I'm not going to go out there and play. You know, so you better find somebody, and it better be somebody that's just as good or the next best thing. And so, you know, you just don't. I don't take recruiting personal. Yeah, I have before as a young coach, and it's not work. You know, just move on to the next guy. It's your job to find the amount of guys, and you know, especially usually O-line and D-line, where you're recruiting a high volume of guys. It's hard. It's a lot of work. So, if you don't, that's really just lazy. Yeah. So, you just have to move on to the next guy. And then in this environment that we're in now in college football, it doesn't work out. If you leave that on good terms, then you probably have a better opportunity the next time, whether that's a one-time transfer or a graduate transfer. And now the relationship is it never had a break in it, you know, and it never goes sour. So, you know, that's one thing I've to try not to do in recruiting.
You mentioned Asani, but so he and Tommy, have you seen their development? I mean, is it they just sort of scratching the surface now? Where are they?
Yes, and I've said this about Tommy, and I would say the same thing about Asani, just coming off an injury, so you don't have the same amount of practice reps and, you know, summer reps to go off of. You know, Tommy, it means something to him. He wants to be good. He works at it, and not that he's perfect. You know, Asani is coming off and played his first college snap 6 months after a knee injury that usually takes 8, and that should tell you what you need to know about how he handles his business. So very similar young men in their approach, very similar skill set, and you know, I'm glad that we got him.
We keep talking about him. In the first couple of weeks, it was about the ability to control gaps and whatnot. He had 5 tackles and a couple behind the line of scrimmage. So is that surprising you a little bit that he's starting to be a playmaker too, in addition to that?
No, it just, again, it kind of validates what we saw, and asking him to play a position that fits his skill set. And when you do that and you start to see somebody get really comfortable and get into the, you know, they just play fast, and you know, I think that's what you're seeing with Fatorma. And don't ask him to do much, ask him to do a couple things, and he's definitely a good get for us.
Fatorma and Mike, would that be maybe the 2 biggest surprises for you, the way that they've controlled the line of scrimmage?
No, I don't think so. When you know, it's like I was asked about the evaluation and recruiting process. When you see it, you know, it's just the matter of the consistency of finding a way to get that all the time. And so I think that's been the biggest thing. You know, we didn't not knowing about Fatorma when he got here, but Mike, that's what it was. It was being the player that he can be consistently, which, you know, the next evaluation for all these guys, I mean, that's what everybody is going to look for, knowing what you're going to get every single day. And so they've done a great job with that. AJ's done a great job getting them to that point, and we'll need more of it.
Would you say that the line of scrimmage, the way they played, has been the result of the way you played the last 3 weeks in some respects?
Yeah, I mean, I think it always starts there, and it always. And I think you're only as good. It depends on what your philosophy is, obviously, but in ours, you're only as good as you are up front. And our secondary guys, they understand that. And our kids, whether it's Beanie or Ruffin or Aubrey, they kind of feed off each other, and so they understand the benefits of having that, and they understand that the further we go down the road, then the better we need them to play, and I think they accept that challenge. So, I've always, we got here, we built it front to back, and now you're seeing some of the benefits of that.
When you're an offensive coordinator, the other team takes the ball, goes down the field, 11 plays, all on the ground, beats you physically, etc. How do you keep things together? How do you, not only with your team, but with yourself?
Yeah, I mean, you never panic. There's always, if an offensive coordinator doesn't do anything that we haven't seen, I honestly don't think he's doing his job. They had a couple of different wrinkles formation wise and play sets wise, and kudos to them. I mean, they're the same as within the core structure of their offense. They always dress it up different and it looks. So you're just trying to see how somebody's attacking you and where the leak is, where it's going. Really the first 3 plays were just 3 missed tackles. I don't think that was really more juiced up, kind of playing a little bit out of your fundamentals early, which I expected. But we calmed down and got them, got it fixed. And guys, again, they come to the sideline. They know, hey coach, where's it leaking at? And their eyes up, they're looking at you. We fix it, and then we go back out there, and the result is a result. So if we just keep that approach, keep level head, and just continue to. They were playing hard. Missed a couple of tackles, misfit. I think 2 things. Got it fixed, calmed down, and here we go. So that's you usually honestly expect that, no matter if it's run game, pass game. You always expect wrinkles and different things. So that's a every Saturday expectation that I have.
Okay, thank you, Coach.
Thank y'all.